Regular Army and National Guard are running checkpoints with police dogs barking at women and children all over Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, ahead of the world's criminal rulers, the G20 arriving in 2 days. I'm sending a crew. Okay, Dr. Horowitz, continuing, sir, with the points you were making to me during the break. Let's get into your affidavit in detail, the proof, the facts. You've got the history of the Rockefellers. They're always involved in this. And then where we go from there. Go ahead.
So, again, the heart of the beast is in New York City, and the Rockefeller Trust is engaged with the world's most powerful man on Wall Street, and especially the media. The people that wield the media and the mass mind are heavily engaged in the trust that is the most powerful biotechnology trust in the world. It's really these are the people that literally make the markets for healthcare. They make and break markets. These are the people that are suppressing the alternative natural remedies, the Codex Alimentarius legislation. These are the people that have created the markets. Of course, you've seen the security market after 9/11 and all this terrorism. This is how they operate to create the markets to advance their financial as well as political agendas. So who are they? Well, now they have some names. And in terms of the politicians that are involved, gee whiz, you've got obviously John Holdren, who's calling for depopulation through vaccinations in his early book, where he's working with Barack Obama. And so the question becomes, all right, you've been talking about Council on Foreign Relations and those members of that. You've been talking about Henry Kissinger, the connections to Nelson Rockefeller. Well, here is, for the first time, really hard, cold documents that show the intimate relationships between Rockefeller cronies and literally this H1N1 swine flu fright, which is a complete fraud. So I can go... I mean, like you say, it's an extremely lengthy affidavit.
Boil down the basics of how you put this together, who the key players are.
Well, honestly, by the grace of the Creator, it all came together. The main players are, first of all, in the UK. So much of it is coming through Britain. You have to understand that most of the mainstream media, Cablevision, is Rupert Murdoch. People don't know, but we're now exposing. For example, Murdoch's mother, a 100-year-old lady, is intimately connected with the Queen of England. His daughter and his mother is actually still running right now the place where H1N1 swine flu vaccines are being tested right now on babies and children and pregnant women. And his daughter, likewise, is running this in Australia. So we have a lot of people in Australia right now, as the Australian government and the British government and the United States and Canada are advancing this genocide under the guise of public health and protection against H1N1. What you've got is media mogul Rupert Murdoch hideously engaged, intimately. His entire family is engaged in the vaccine development and research itself. That's a stunning revelation. Rupert Murdoch is co-director. He is a co-director. David Rockefeller founded the Partnership for New York City, which is this trust that's conducting genocide. Rupert Murdoch is a co-director of that. And when you start to research that, that's when everything started to unravel. If you start to go into Partnership for New York City and you see the biotechnology companies and the vaccine industrialists that are engaged with them, man, oh man, it's like the who's who of Wall Street and mainstream media, intimately engaged in this process of health care
So they're not
reform.
just the main advertisers, it's the owners of the media involved. The Rockefeller Foundation pushed all the cancer virus research in the 20s and 30s. Back in 1 minute. Before Dr. Horowitz leaves us in 30 minutes, he'll be back with us later this week with more information. Look at the cover of Newsweek, the case for killing Granny. And then it's this very sick story selling how it's a wonderful right to die, and how the government's keeping people from being able to die when that's what they want, is to euthanize people. And then sickening article after article worshiping bankers and how they're like celebrities now because they've created tens of trillions in fiat and bought everything up, and the rest of this news week is drug ads. I mean, it's one big incestuous, disgusting group of scum. Dr. Horowitz, continuing with your affidavit.
Yeah, so again, the British links. I mean, you've got to realize also when you do the history.
Dr. Horowitz, do we have you on speakerphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Alex. You know, the same thing when you start to look at the Partnership for the City of New York, the connection to the royalty of Europe. I mean, literally the organization was chartered by the British royalty. And so you begin to realize, wow, it's no accident that John Robertson, who's in the National Institute for Biological Standards and Control in the UK, told the World Health Organization, as the chief supplier of viruses for influenza and influenza vaccines, and the chief tester for the World Health Organization of blood that of people who have been vaccinated with H1N1 vaccines, that the deal in America is far better to advance this agenda. He also said, this is James Robertson and Dr. John Wood, who are partners in the world's leading experts in this field, and that they stated clearly that they would prime the populations with H1N1 or whatever pandemic flu was coming. They would prime them in advance, and so that's what we are looking at with the Mexican flu outbreak and the H1N1 that circulated. It was a laboratory-sourced virus, and that's not unusual in history. In 1977, the swine flu that broke out, and then also that was 1 year after the mysterious, probably military experiment at Fort Dix, which again led to the initial swine flu fright and the hideous Guillain-Barré disease-inducing vaccination campaign back in 76. That was a laboratory-sourced virus. Says who? Says the New England Journal of Medicine a couple weeks ago. So you've got to really take a clear look at who's pulling the strings between Rockefeller and the royalty of Europe.
And I want to spend more time on this because you said this 3 months ago on the show. It's since come out in UN documents we covered last week where they said so that people get better immunity when we give them the vaccine, we'll release these simulant viruses into the population. What does that mean?
It means that they have genetically engineered viruses, such as what we've talked about, a combination of swine flu from 1918. I'm sorry, yes, it was the Spanish flu from 1918 with a swine flu with a genetic sequence of the avian flu from Asia.
But they just calmly announce, like it's no big deal on the WHO's own website, the UN, that they're releasing this stuff.
Yes, and that was made clear additionally in a recent World Health Organization release, a press release, to gain publicity to help allegedly ensure people that these vaccines are safe. They actually said the same thing. That they're releasing new mock-up files, they call it. See, they don't even call them viruses anymore. They don't want people to be alarmed, so they call them new names. The new terminology for viruses, laboratory, mutated, hybridized combinations, recombinants, are mock-up files, biosimilars. These are the types of words that they're using that basically keeps people ignorant about what they're really doing. And they just do it right out in the open, so if they ever get caught, they say, yeah, we admitted we did. It's like Silverstein says, yeah, we pulled Building 7, gave the order, and watched the building come down, and then no one's supposed to discuss it. Stay there, Dr. Horowitz. Let's continue.